Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Creative Collab, your go-to resource for understanding technology that drives content creation and also talking about enterprise and consumer technology in those industries. Today is an interesting story, interesting show. Got a friend of mine who I have known for, I'm not going to date myself, but I'm going to say decades, for quite a while, who also is part of the enterprise IT world, who has just found themselves, unfortunately, on the end of a RIF, reduction in force, layoff, whatever you want to call it, right? Every industry has it, but in enterprise IT, we call it a reduction in force. Unfortunate and sad. I wanted to have a conversation with them talking about when those types of things happening, especially when you spend so much time working for a corporate entity or any entity, and you build brand awareness, you build information, you build collateral, you build a catalog of information. That versus a personal that corporate brand versus a personal brand. That's the conversation that I want to have. So again, if you got any questions as we go through this conversation, as we go through this dialogue, and you want to have some insight in terms of what someone is going to do when they're in this situation, chime in here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Calvin Zito is here, and man, this it's bittersweet because you're in this situation, but so that selfishly is just good for me to be able to talk to you because I wanted to see. I've known you for way before the gray hair on me, not you. I'm the gray haired guy here. Tell folks again a little. Let's do this. Let's start with this. Who is Calvin Zito? Not necessarily from where you were, but tell kind of who Calvin Zito is, what it is that you have been doing for the past 4 decades, and the situation that you're currently in right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
And
so let me try and keep
and be as open and transparent as you want. I will not dig where we don't want to dig because we want to keep all lines of communication open. But yeah, who is Calvin Zito?
appreciate that, and thanks for having me, James. It is, such an honor to see you again. We were talking that we probably met each other, probably before Carly and the Compact thing came together. So, and that was long before I had a social persona. So, a little bit of background. I mean, I got an undergraduate in engineering. I went to the field for HP in Southern California, was a field engineer working on enterprise technology. So I like to tell people I've been working on storage my entire career. The first storage devices I worked on were about the size of a dishwasher in your kitchen, cost about $25,000 and held about 125 megabytes. So it was a different time in IT back then. And got an MBA at Cal State Fullerton and ended up landing in storage marketing in Boise. That's where I still am. That's where I've been most of that time since I came to Boise. I did have a little brief stint where I went to a division of HP in Colorado Springs, but worked in storage for about 25 of those years. And then for the last maybe 5 or so, I kind of been at a higher level of doing content and doing social media across all of HPE. The thing that people probably, if you're going to like, what's Calvin famous for, is probably 2 things. I started social media at HP. Nobody was doing it when I started doing it. And I took ownership of the storage blog. And if you think back to those days, I mean, Proliant was like the huge brand in HP, and nobody was buying HP storage. Nobody even knew who we were. A lot of companies who bought Proliant or Unix were buying EMC or someone else, and yet we had like the most read blog, most watched videos, and a lot of
Yeah,
that had to do with the passion I brought and the social influence and the what we'll talk about is the personal brand that I created really by mistake. I didn't know what I was doing when I started. Um, yeah, so that's kind of where I've been. Of course, HP and HPE split, so I've been on the HPE side, and yeah, just got the notification. Not the greatest day, but the day after Thanksgiving, back at work,
yeah.
uh, got a meeting invite from my manager, who she was doing all she could not to cry and hold herself together as she read the HR script of, sorry, you're being let go in a workforce reduction.
Right. And then
So
there's
yeah,
that other person on the other end as well, right? And when there's 2 that are invited and there's 3 that show up to the and I know because I've been through that. I've been through it at HP. I've been through it at Dell. I've been through it at a couple of
yep,
other organizations as well. And what's interesting about it is, and I said this ahead of time, you're kind of a unicorn. right? For the fact in today's industry, especially in our enterprise IT world, for the fact that you spent over 4 decades with the same organization and haven't been hit with this yet. Because I know in that time you've seen a lot of waves, a lot of things that have happened. I guess the conversation that I want to have is, again, you spent all that time building up the storage block and the IT block podcast, right? Those podcasts and those entities that were yours, well recognized, globally recognized, and they
Yep.
help further the corporate brand. But now that you find yourself kind of in flux, only we within the work within the industry know who you are. But there wasn't an opportunity for you to really build on that personal brand while you were building up the corporate brand. So how are you kind of thinking of putting some balance into that right now, right? Because that, I think that's the challenge that you may have right now, getting back into conversations about rejoining workforces and things of that
Yeah.
nature. But you ask who is Calvin Zito, the content catalog only shows one side, as doesn't show the whole side of you. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
how you're going to do that?
That's a really interesting question. It's one I've kind of like faced through my years. I mean, I'll tell you openly about this. I had a good friend who was at EMC. It
Mm.
had to be about 10 years ago. It was when Meg Whitman first became CEO. And I was actually walking into her first ever keynote at Discover in Las Vegas, our big corporate event, which in that time, it may have been in May, it may have been in June. I don't remember exactly when it was back then, but got a call from a friend at EMC and he's like, hey, I know you're old enough and you probably got the early retirement offer. And back then it was like 11 months.
Yeah.
And I literally, maybe it was a mistake. I don't think it was, but maybe it was a mistake. I didn't even think about it. I just told him, no, I mean, I'm known as the HPE storage guy. Back then we were still HP storage guy. And it's like, I don't think switching horses is good for my personal brand unless somebody kicks me out of here, kicking and screaming. I'm not sure I want to go to a competitor. I'd
Mm.
seen other like leading voices at other companies. One who was at NetApp at that time, and then he left and landed somewhere else, and then he landed somewhere else. And I'm looking at this, and me personally, I'm thinking that's got to hurt your credibility when like you're talking about company A on Monday, and then the week from Monday, you're now company A sucks and company B is great. I just didn't want to deal with that. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it now. I think,
Yeah.
there's a part of it that is like maybe it'd be a parallel part in IT. I think it would, if I'm going to do something next, it's going to need to be something that's in technology and IT. Um, and maybe a partner is more likely. There's a few competitors that I might consider because I respect them, but that's a tough question for me to answer right now. I don't know what I'm going to do with my personal brand and taking it to somewhere else because everybody knows me as the
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 storage guy.
the HP guy, yeah, the storage guy,
I'll say it. I'll even blow it out there. Around the storage block, y'all go out there and Google search for that, and you'll see this
yeah,
guy with his hat on, with that cool fedora on, talking about all things. Oh my gosh, I'm dating
yeah,
myself. Nike, MSA.
yeah. Nobody knew the term Nike. That was internal, so
Okay,
nobody
there
was
we
supposed to
go.
hear
Oh,
that.
see,
So you're
there
gonna
I
have to
go again.
bleep that out. I'm
There
kidding.
I go
I
getting
mean,
away insider secrets.
yeah, and where I really got into it is after like we bought Compaq, and it was like the EVA was a big deal, and then we
That's
bought
funny.
3PAR, and then 3PAR was a big deal, and of course there's been tons of other things in the portfolio, but yeah, I mean I was the HP storage guy on Twitter for a long time. Funny
Mm-hmm.
story that the brand people came along and said nobody can have HP in their handle. We only want that for handles that are the brand managed by the brand. So you have to take that out of your brand handle or out of your Twitter handle. And I actually had some management that understood the value of what I was doing. They went back to the brand team and said, no, he's not taking that out. We're going to keep the HP storage guy going. I did change it when HP split and I went to HPE because I thought new management, new people don't want to
Yeah.
have this fight. I'm just going to go ahead and become Calvin Zito on Twitter. And I dropped the HPE in my brand, in my handle. So yeah, I was the HP storage guy forever. That's what, if you go look at my goodbye on LinkedIn, I think three quarters of the people that left a comment still call me the
Right. Well,
HB
I
storage
still
guy.
do. I still come on. That's who
Yeah,
you are, and But the skills that you had, and I guess kind of back to kind of building on that personal brand that you're going to now take to wherever that the next chapter uh, in your journey is. Those are transferable, right? Let me
yeah,
give you some flowers here. I mean, you were one of the very first people that I saw do what is now kind of I think commonplace for online digital demonstrations, the doodle boards, right?
yeah. I call them chalk
I'm
talk.
sure there's chalk talks, or
But
I'm sure that
yeah, the
there's a more
company that
formal
has
name.
the
Yeah,
software, they're called Doodles, and yes, I wanted a personal brand for it, so I decided to call them Chalk Talks.
yeah. But see, no one was really doing them
No,
continuously or consistently before
no.
you. No one in the industry. And those chalk talks, those doodle diagrams of building out the conversation and drawing out the infrastructure, doing all that stuff. Again, that's a skill set that when we look at that, and those who know, I'm gonna give you these flowers. I go reach back and say Calvin Zito was the one who really mastered that skill. So that's transferable, right? So
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
something that you can take as you move forward, right?
Yeah, it is, and I think that that's a video creation skill. But I think behind that, what made those so well received is I could take a customer presentation that somebody in product marketing created that you get this, you download it, and it's like 40 slides, and it's like, how do I distill this into like 5 minutes of easily understandable stuff that a customer can watch it and say, okay, I get what that is. Or a sales rep can watch it before he goes into a sales call and say, okay, I actually know what exactly to talk about here. And that's what those were. I think I had, again, somebody in my goodbye email sent me something and said, you should add simplification engineer to your resume, because that's, I think, what I do. I mean, I'm I don't know. I got some smarts. I mean, I got good grades in college, and
Yeah.
I did well, but I am still at the root, I'm a very simple man, and I like simple explanations, and that's what I think I brought into what I did is I made complex engineering, complex IT topics accessible to somebody that doesn't necessarily know everything about storage.
And at the end of the day, having both of those, that's something that's hard to teach. I've said that before, right? Because in today's world, we're out there trying to have both conversations. We're trying to have the business conversation to the C-level folks. We're trying to have the technical conversation to the engineers and the data center managers, things of that. But someone who can kind of ride that line in between and have both conversations and talk technical conversations in layman's terms or in understandable terms, that again is a skill that many organizations, not just in our field, enterprise IT, but many organizations are looking for. So you being able to again get in front of the room, get in front of a whiteboard, get on stage, do the thing, is an invaluable skill that I'm talking to the choir. You know that, but
Yeah.
it's really for folks who may be coming into the unfortunate situation that you're in right now, or have been there, or whatever the case may be, but just continue to remember that, know who you are, know what it is that you do, know the value that you bring, and finding a way. I guess that's where you are right now. You say the challenging
Yeah.
part is how do I elevate that personal brand, because I've done it. I being you have done it for so many years for this large corporate entity. How do I now show that value to the next organization,
Yeah.
or hell, maybe the same organization? So hey, shouts out to HP. Listen, bring them back. I'll sign. I'll vouch for him. I'll
There
vouch
you go.
for
I
him.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think understanding how to do that, and the thing with what I did is in the very early days of social media. I mean, it was very common to have vendors get in a public pissing match on Twitter. You just go at each other. And I remember, if you remember the name Chuck Hollis, Chuck used to be at EMC a long time ago, and Chuck would come to my blogs and he would leave comments, and we'd go at each other, or we'd go at each
Mm-hmm.
other on Twitter. And
Mm-hmm.
it got to a point, it's like, it may get a lot of clickbait because people like seeing the vendors going into Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's not what customers want. They don't want two vendors like going at each other like that. So I've actually just completely took myself out of doing anything that's like competitive. I think I've maybe mentioned Dell
Mm-hmm.
one time in the last 2 years on anything I did. And it was because HPE had this thing like, you can replace your Dell with this product and we'll give you a discount and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I just stopped doing the competitive bashing. It used to be fun, but it just doesn't get you anywhere. So I think I've like cleaned up my image. I went from uh being in fact, Stevie, who used to work at Cisco a long time ago, he's another guy that left a comment on my I'm leaving HPE, and he left a comment on there saying, you used to just be a ferocious competitor. And it's like, yeah, that's who I used to be. I just kind of realized this is not worth it anymore. I'm not the competitive guy. I don't pay attention a lot to what the competitors are doing. I'm just telling you what we're doing. And if you want to figure out what a competitor's doing, go ahead.
Well,
You
look,
go do that somewhere else. I'm not going to feed you competitive, FUD
I was
to
gonna
go
say
figure out.
when you walked around with that fedora that you had on, I think I remember one time we called you the, I don't know, the storage godfather too.
That actually is where I went after I was HPE
Okay,
storage guy. It's because I had to drop HPE from the name. I became the storage godfather, and then when I moved off of storage, I became the IT godfather.
yeah.
But another funny story there: I had a manager who is Italian, and maybe that's why she felt this way. She came to me and was like, I've got people telling me that there's just this image of violence from the Godfather movie, and it's like, hey, I'm a godfather to my niece. She's alive and well. But yeah, they literally said they wanted me to stop using the storage or the IT Godfather because it connotated violence. And I did that for like about a month, and I said, nah, forget it. This is not violence. This is my persona. I'm not going to keep changing my brand because somebody in the marketing keeps saying, no, you can't do that. You got to change that. And, that's whatever. I'm going to be me. And, that's, I definitely don't want to create waves or create drama for anybody, but I
Yeah.
think I got to be me. And that's why I've been successful, because I was me.
And that's what's going to drive you to the next one, right? That's what's going to keep you successful moving forward as well. I do want to. I'm going to take a pause and make an acknowledgement here right now. Live will happen, so live streaming, multi-streaming, all the things will happen, and Murphy will show up. I just noticed that the session is not where it's supposed to be in terms of all of the platforms, which is okay. I have redundancies in place because I'm an old school cat like you. So I'm recording locally, and everyone, this will be pre-recorded. It'll put where it's supposed to be. But again, so yeah, I've
You're
got my
probably going to
back.
get 70% of the people watching it with the on
We'll get
demand
more.
anyway, right?
We'll get more
Yeah.
because it'll be just in time information, and there it is.
Yeah.
But I wanted to acknowledge that to you as well, just in case you were
Hey,
refreshing browsers or something and trying to say, well, aren't we supposed to be over on this platform
not to
too?
worry.
But
I don't have a job, so it's not
oh,
like it's not like I'm on my lunch break and I got to get busy here. So it's all good.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
There you
Oh, wait a
go.
minute. I
See,
brought it up. Never mind.
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's now you're still. Where are you physically? West Coast, East Coast? Have you moved?
I'm in Boise, and that's where I've
Okay,
been since
you're
since
still
I
there.
moved from Southern California. I've been in
Okay,
Boise since basically 1990. Yeah, that's
okay.
why I got my. If you don't know, that's my Boise State
I,
Cup, and
I, I
for
see
those,
the blue there. Yeah, yeah. I think
I'm,
that Boise State. Well, here we go with a little squirrel moment. I think that the Heisman should be right
should have been.
now on that campus, but
Yeah.
we won't talk about that right here. That's another show. We won't talk about that. I think you
Okay.
got
Well, you
Rob
tell me
set.
when you do that show, because I actually have this whole Twitter blog post I'm going to put on my personal Twitter talking about that because I feel pretty passionately that they got it wrong. But
Tonight, Wednesday tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, Team No Sleep is when we talk about the social impact of sports, and we'll be talking about that live tonight. I'll have all of the
nice. I will try and
issues.
watch what I can, but honestly, I'm going to a Broadway show here in Boise tonight with my girlfriend. We're going to
There you
see,
go. So you're
whatever.
going through the cycles, right? So you've gone through the denial, the acceptance, the anger, and all
Yep.
that, and
Yep.
moving on, moving forward. And again, someone, I'm not going to say you're someone more seasoned, right? We
No,
know how to.
seasoned is fine. I am very seasoned. I mean, 41 years, 15,003 days at HPE. I think you could call me seasoned. You
Seasoned,
could call
right?
me overcooked if you want. I
Uh,
mean, really, I'm medium
There,
well done.
there you go. You're at least medium well, but the fact that you keep it in perspective, right?
Yeah, for
Again,
sure.
something happened. It's unfortunate. It wasn't planned, and it's a crazy time of a calendar year for you to get this. The last time I got that call, it was around the same time as well, but they gave you a couple of nickels probably to go and prepare for the next thing. you've got an extensive Rolodex. I may have just dated myself. I don't think kids know what a Rolodex.
A
You got a lot of
handwritten
folks.
contact list that would
Yeah,
just
goodness
describe it
gracious.
instead of using a brand name.
There you go. Right. You've got a large network.
Yeah,
You got a lot of folks who are vying for you and saying Calvin's going. I'm not worried. Just to be transparent, just to be honest, I'm not
yeah,
worried. I know you're going to land where you want to land when you want to land there. There will be opportunities that may not happen. There'll be opportunities that do happen, and I think you're going to have a choice. The reason that I asked about where are you located now, because I forgot that you moved, being remote now, because again, we're a lot of organizations are trying to figure out that the best mix of that. And do you see yourself going physically back into an office, or do you so now maybe being more remote? Because now that you're going to have that kind of a conversation now, right?
yeah,
Do you see yourself being able to transition back to physically being in a cube, in a desk, in an office,
yeah.
in a bit that kind of thing?
If I don't have to move, I'd be open to talk to somebody if the opportunity is right.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of those options. I mean, Micron Technology is here in Boise, and
yeah.
I'm not a microchip guy, so I'm not sure that would be a great fit. But I don't think I'm going to be back in an office, and I'm certainly not going to move somewhere because I have to be in an office. So if
Okay.
there's a opportunity that says you have to move to this location, yeah, I'm going to be okay. It's more like I want to work and I want to love what I do, but I love where I am, and I'm not looking to relocate, to some distant place, unless it was maybe if it was Tuscany and somebody had a great job in Tuscany
See,
with a
there you
guaranteed
go.
salary.
Put that on the vision board. Of all places to move, and why not move to Tuscany?
It's funny. I actually said that for a reason. I have a friend that I used to work with in Southern California when I was there, and then he ended up coming back to HP in a Marcom role, and we worked in the same team. And he actually sent me a private message and said, "Look, dude, I'm starting a firm in Tuscany, but it's kind of a place where it would be an entirely new career for me, and having to develop business that, yeah, I just don't want to do that now. I mean, that I would love to live in Italy, and if you'd have asked me this 10 years ago, I probably would have jumped on it. But now, I'm not looking at working another 8 years. I'm looking, a few more years, enjoy the last few years of work, and then be able to enjoy going to Tuscany on vacation instead of being there because I work there for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
But I mean, I got goosebumps when I got the text from him, and it's like
that's pretty cool.
should come consider working in Tuscany. It's cheaper here, but it's like a whole new world of business of stuff I haven't done in a long time, and it's like, yeah, this is too risky for me to move to Tuscany for a job that might not work out.
Yeah, and I think there's value in that lesson as well. And again, I'm gonna say for folks earlier on in their career, folks who may be going through a situation as you versus someone again you more seasoned who has options to say, yeah, I want to take that job, or yeah, I want to take that role. Yeah, I want to move. No, I don't want to go here and do that kind of thing. So the
Yeah,
fact that you've got those transferable skills, you could, in theory, go out and do the thing somewhere else. You mentioned the Micron. Shouts out to Micron. Micron is one of our customers over at where I put the
yeah,
corporate hat on every single day. So we're actually doing some migrations over there. But uh, you could pick up some different skills. You could leverage some skills that you already have, but you have that option of not to if you
yeah,
don't want to. Um,
yeah, yeah. I'm definitely willing to, like. I mean, I have a
hmm,
deep background in technology, so and again, I haven't been focused on storage for the last 5 years. I've been doing the whole HPE portfolio, so I've learned a little bit about AI. I've learned a little bit about
hmm.
cloud. I've learned a little bit about software. But if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, we want you to be an analyst at Gartner looking at cloud," okay, that might take me a little bit of time to come up to speed. I've had, and that's like what some people have said is like you should reach out to an analyst firm and maybe you should look at being an analyst. Maybe, maybe that would be something I could do, but I know I'm gonna have to spend some time getting a lot smarter because right now I'm, you know, wide and not so deep. And
Hmm.
to be an
Hmm.
analyst, you got to be deep in a
Right.
in a narrow
Yeah,
topic, and that's
you're
just
more of a generalist as opposed to a specialist,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I could maybe do that in storage and come up a lot quicker, for sure. But yeah, I, I I'm gonna play it by ear. I guess the bottom line for me, James, is I've saved like crazy. So if I
Yeah.
didn't find something I love, I'm actually completely fine going and volunteering at some, you know, some agency that's like a food bank or something that's helping the poor, or something that's helping with any kind of like thing that you could think of that needs some social justice attention that we as a culture just kind of ignore because never mind. I won't get political and say
Well,
we have a
you get it because you
Republican
can go where you want.
administration about to come
Again,
in.
like, again, we, like I said, I've got unlimited bandwidth, unlimited tape, and we're record. But you mentioned something again as well. So I'm looking for lessons again, mainly for folks that are coming up behind you, right? The fact that you said you've been very fiscally sound, right? That you've got a couple of dollars underneath the mattress, so
Save like crazy.
you
Yep.
prepared for whatever is going to happen, which is good. The emergency fund and things of that. What are and I want to be cognizant of your time because don't say that just the fact that you don't
Because
have
I
a
got that
job.
job to go to right now.
Don't do that. I just want to be cognizant of your time. What are some things that are you doing now? Like leveraging social networks, like leveraging maybe LinkedIn. What are you doing to raise that personal brand, get folks to aware that to
Yeah.
know that Calvin Zito is now available, maybe on the market, on the bench, ready to go do something different. What are you doing? What are some tips
Yeah.
that you're doing that you can probably give to somebody else?
Yeah. I don't know what it was when you experienced this, but I mean, there's this like 60-day period that I have to come back to HPE without like having to go get an executive level signature to return. And I don't know the details of that because I haven't got the packet yet that says what I have to do, but I know I basically have 60 days, which is like beginning of February. So there's not a lot at HPE right now, but there is one job that is like a really good fit for me. And the manager of the team knows me pretty well. So, I'm putting that as my top priority to try and get that job and get back into HPE. Um, and I'm still keeping my eyes open on what's on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
The influence stuff that I do. It's kind of funny. I saw an influencer job that they were looking for somebody that create content and influence stuff with a coffee roaster back east.
Yeah.
I'm a big coffee snob right now. I mean, I buy
Okay.
like small batch coffee. I do pour overs. I mean, I don't put milk and sugar to dilute the flavor. I want really good coffee.
Yes, sir.
This would be a passion for me. I would love to do this. In fact, I do some videos on another YouTube channel of mine that's all focused on coffee, cocktails, and food. And I would love to do that. But
I
he's like,
I
yeah,
need to subscribe to that. So we'll
I'll,
talk
I'll
about that
send
when
it
we
to you.
hit.
I'll send it to you. But anyway, he's in Massachusetts and he wants somebody that can be able to drive to his site
Mm,
and, check out their roasting capabilities and be able to do videos when they have new coffees. And yeah, I'm in Boise, Idaho. I don't think you're going to want to pay for me to fly to Massachusetts to come to your little coffee roastery and your small batch. You probably don't have enough money to even afford me. So, but
mm-hmm.
that would have been a man, if I could find something doing something like that, that's just a passion and take what I know about creating content. That would be amazing. But for now, bottom line, I'm going to focus on like the near term, which is I got 60 days to get back into HPE. If that happens, I'll probably be doing a retraction of I left the company and yeah, just great timing. My son's opening the garage door and the dogs are barking, so hopefully it's not too loud.
No worries.
Uh, uh,
Life and live happen, so it's
yeah.
all good. It's all good.
So yeah, for now I'm going to focus on that. I mean, I do have a lot of people that reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's get in touch." I actually have one guy that said, "Hey, I would love to get you to do a couple videos a month for me and my
Mm,
company." And we're talking about that. And let's talk about what that process looks like, and what I'm going to do, what you're going to do, how much it's going to be. So that would be the fallback plan, I think, for me. That'd be the most ideal fallback plan, is just be like a contractor doing videos for people that want videos, and I'm really good at that. So
yeah,
you have some like translation of highly technical content you need for the common man. I'm great at that, and I
I
think
love it.
people understand that.
There it is, right there. There's the sound bite that's going to go out in about 2 hours all across the internet with you tagged in it. Uh, I will link in the description to your OG YouTube channel. I need to know what this coffee cocktails and
And cooking.
whatever.
I think I don't remember the order I put it in,
Oh,
but I think it's
yeah,
cocktails,
we need to
coffee.
figure that out because I need to become a subscriber, a member, and all that stuff to that one because I will be frequenting that. Um, Calvin, listen, just by what you just said again, that just reiterates and emphasizes what I said. I'm not worried about you, man. Right.
Yeah,
It sucks. Right. But again, the fact that you, again, the network is extensive, the skill set is extensive. You've done the work, and your reputation speaks for itself. The fact that you can do all of the different things, either it's in enterprise IT, or it could be in a marketing capacity. It could be in a uh, content creation perspective and things like that. Those skills are transferable. So
absolutely.
you'll land when you land, where you land on your own time. So um, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you,
Yeah,
man. I wanted to chop it up with you, selfishly, see your face, have a conversation, make sure that you're good. Um, as I know folks in Boise as well. If I needed to send someone that way just to check on you, do like a health check, we would have done that. But now I don't have to worry about that.
yeah,
Um,
I'm good, man. I'm beyond
cool.
good. And honestly, I think if I'm going to talk to people that might be in a situation like this, is know your value and let your value drive who you are. And like for me, and I've said this many times, I am so grateful. I mean, I made 41 years at this company, and we went through dozens of layoffs through
Hmm.
the 2000s and the economic. I mean, I am so fortunate to have been here for 41 years, and I don't want to leave with an ounce of bitterness. It's been a great place, and I've been so fortunate to have had a career for that long at one company.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Calvin Zito right there. He's a good dude. You'll find him. I'll put his LinkedIn in the description as well too, because I think in a couple of weeks we'll find him already landed somewhere. Uh, Folks, again, I apologize for the fact if this was you wanted to engage and interact with Mr. Zito live, but you can, because I'll put his LinkedIn in the description. But if there was value in this conversation, let me know. If there was not value, still let me know, and
And
then
how about this? When
we'll
you
blame
put it
him.
on LinkedIn, I will reshare it. And if anybody, based on the conversation, has a question, I don't have no place to go
Oh,
except I'm
see,
going.
there you
Sorry.
don't start
No,
that.
I do actually have some place to go.
You
Going to see this
don't do
Broadway
that.
show tonight. So,
There you go. My
but I will
gosh.
I'm going to have fun. I mean, that's the one thing I say this in closing, James. I mean, Boise State fan. I'm a big Boise State
Yeah.
fan, and I'm going to take you down this path. But if there's anything I'm not happy about, is I was going to the Fiesta Bowl, but
Oh,
it's probably going to be $2,000 or $3,000, and that's like $2,000 or $3,000 that I don't know I want to spend right now because
yeah.
I wasn't expecting this. Don't have a budget figured out. And I just don't know that I want to spend $2,000 or $3,000 going to a football game right now. If I get retired before the game, you may see me in the
Yeah.
stands wearing my blue and waving at everybody, screaming
Or you
for
could just go
Ashton.
streak across the field at right before halftime, and then
There you go. There you go. That's a good idea. And then I would really have my name and face out there, wouldn't I?
just saying.
Hopefully not more than that. Just my name and face.
Calvin, you're a good dude, man. I appreciate you. Stay on the line for just a second after I do this quick outro, man. Be good, sir.